Savage Dragon 97 from March of 2002. Enter She-Dragon. We haven't seen Amy Belcher in over 20 issues, so this is her first appearance in the Savage world, and we're all excited about that. Looks like she's hanging out with her old friends, the Eternal Youths, and Rackham, and plenty of fans, well, perverts really. They were effusively grateful for this cover, specifically the chains and the bondage. More of that inside. Let's start with the credits. Eric Larson story and art, Chris Eliopoulos letters, Ruben Root and Abel Motown colors, and Josh Eckhorn is trying to jumpstart the just took a nap look. So the adventures of Savage Dragon continue. Everything is different now, but not different enough. Christmas 2001 came and went without incident, says the caption, narrated by Dragon himself, in one of the most pedestrian and mundane openings to a Savage Dragon comic that I can remember. Normally he's battling some terrifying monster, or he's recovering his limbs on a spaceship or something like that, but here he's just staring at a Christmas tree, wondering where his love interest, Jennifer, and her daughter Angel are at. So it's a snowy Chicago evening, and Dragon is puttering around his empty house, drinking coffee, procrastinating from writing a book about his life. So he's a glorified hero in this world, and he's received a huge cash advance to tell his tale. But there's a knock at the door, and it's his old pal Frank Darling. He's got his job back as a police captain, and he's here because he's worried about Dragon going stir-crazy, moping around the house, waiting for Jennifer to come walking through that door, and he wants to snap him back to reality, to no avail. So this page may be the one that Larson relates the most to. Dragon has writer's block. Well, maybe not writer's block, but the more of his life story that he types out, the more idiotic it sounds. Time-traveling, dimension-hopping hijinks that he himself has barely comprehended. So he says, this book sucks. And luckily, his misery is broken up by an urgent phone call from an old friend. Rock and a widow, they have an emergency. Her daughter, Janie, has been kidnapped. And Dragon arrives on the scene, does some detective work, finds a piece of a broken bracelet that he recognizes, and it's a valuable clue to the whereabouts of this missing girl. So Dragon will go on a mission to recover her alone. But before I turn the page, wanted to call out Beast Boy's new look there. I guess he's a teenager now, indicated by the saggy pants and his boxers hanging out there. So nice little character touch. Excuse me. So how's that for a reveal? No time wasted. Hell of a double-page spread here. Looks like Dragon has found Janie in Godtown, but he's not going to make a clean escape here. An army of gods, including Thor, are determined to stop him, which they do. So Dragon is captured and delivered to the throne room where Hercules sits, and he's pissed. He warned Dragon last time to never show his face in Godtown again, but Dragon defends his actions, and they kind of argue back and forth about the rightful home for this kidnapped girl. She may be a descendant of the gods, but she belongs with her human mother. And this persuades Hercules to make a trade, and Dragon agrees. So, the girl for the capture of another elusive god, one that we're familiar with, Rackham. So now Dragon has a side quest to go and find Rackham. He decides to shake down the creator and get some more info. So in the previous reality, Rackham was in cahoots with She-Dragon and Dark Lord. And since She-Dragon is a Johnny Redbeard creation, the dragon thinks that this guy might have a clue where she's at. So this poor freak is in a full body cast, still recovering from the beatdown he took last issue. And now the dragon either literally scares the shit out of him or beats the shit out of him, because Nurse Ann Stevens takes one look at the result of the interrogation and says, I'm not cleaning that up. All right, so here you go, you sickos. Another a full splash page of the She-Dragon in all her glory, each limb in chains, looking a little rough, asking, what do you want to do with me? So calm down. It appears Rackham is using She-Dragon and the Eternal Youths to power a machine capable of generating a portal for Dark Lord to come through, and that would be very bad. So it's the magic hour. Rackham is ready to open the portal. He hits the button, but nothing happens. He's confused, and he turns around, and he eats a fist to the face. Thank the gods that Dragon had this side quest, or else we might have had another Dark Lord encounter here, but instead, Dragon frees the hostages, and She-Dragon thanks him by planting a huge kiss right on his lips. Such a powerful smooch that it sends Dragon head over heels. Pretty impressive to take Dragon off of his feet. So he peels her off, lets her know that he's not actually the same dragon that she knew before, explaining that his home is in another world, but he's going to free them and then return Rackham to the gods. But before he splits, She-Dragon says something that stops him dead in his tracks. She's like, "Why don't you take this machine to go home?" And this definitely has his attention, and he says he'll be back in a jiffy. So, how is Dragon bebopping around so fast? Let's see, from Chicago to Godworld to the hospital to wherever the hell this is. It appears that Dragon has his own little Fantasticar. So if you remember in the last issue, during the rescue of Lexi Dexter, Dragon commandeered this little convertible space shuttle, and I guess he's just taking that home with him and using it as his primary mode of transportation. So pretty handy thing to keep around. Wonder what kind of gas mileage that gets. So he zooms over back to Godworld. He returns Rackham to Hercules, picks up Janie, and then tells Hercules to consider finding a different home that's not Earth. Then it's back to Widow and Rock to return their daughter. Everyone is happy. And it's back to wherever this portal is. Rex Dexter tags along, as does Frank Darling. He's trying to talk Dragon out of this, but Dragon is committed. Dexter opens the portal and says they'll reopen it in 1 week's time, giving Dragon a chance to return if he'd like. And that's where we're going to leave it. Dragon about to take his first steps into his old world and whatever awaits him there. So pretty exciting stuff. That brings us to Fanatics, the best letters page in the biz. Larson says not much to report here. The Image 10th anniversary hardcover still has not shipped. No word on when that's going to happen. And there's another announcement here that Freak Force artist Andy Kuhn has released a new album with his band, The Fuglies. Larson says he can't get that song Crazy Girls out of his head. And you can find all 3 of the Fuglies albums here on YouTube. I listened to a sample of each one. Not quite for me, but I'll put a couple links to their songs. Maybe you'll enjoy it better than I did. But Andy Kuhn, by the way, still a working artist today. He has a comic coming out this very week from Mad Cave Studios called Wild Animals, #4, written by Ed Brisson. I have not checked that one out yet, but I figured it's worth a mention. We'll go through the rest of these letters pretty quick. Nothing too noteworthy, nothing that I haven't already covered. This takes us to Savage Tales by Nick Darrington. A Western tale this time, The Savage Wagon. We got Comic Bits by Chris Giarrusso. 3-page story that has G-Man blow up a dragon with a bazooka. You can't beat that. That just leaves Dragonbert by Carl H. And the exact same ad that we had last time for the Savage Dragon bust. That's going to do it for us this week. Next issue is 98, Return Home. Adios.